I'm Todd Sunfleet. I'm one of the photographers here at OPB. I've been working on Oregon Field Guide ever since it started 27 years ago now. Way back when we started this series of these picturesque shows on Oregon. The first one was back in 1996 called Oregon Portraits. It was just so well accepted that we knew that we just had to keep doing these every 2 or 3 years. And so here we are at the fifth one, Oregon Revealed the Coastal Wonder, because this is going to focus just on the coast. We knew we had to shoot some aerials to make it happen. You know, that was a must. Aerial footage is always really hard to get because it's so expensive to do aerials. We've tried airplanes, we've tried other helicopters, just kind of hand-holding the camera, shooting out the side of the helicopter. And this time around, we wanted to really invest in some good stabilized footage. So this system, it's gyro-stabilized, it's a 5-axis gimbal. Any sudden movement in the camera gets stabilized instantly, and so it gives for a real dramatic tour of the landscape. The Cineflex system is operated by a whole separate camera operator. It's so sophisticated, so many things can go wrong with it that the operator needs to be able to know how to fix it. So I became the director at that point. I knew we needed some sort of route. You just don't get in a helicopter and just start flying. You have to have a plan. It's so expensive. I spent a lot of time with Google Earth putting the camera angle at different positions and flying along the route and trying to pinpoint different targets that I might want to shoot with the helicopter. And I was able to take that file and give it to the pilot to put in his navigation system. I had my shot list in my lap, and I was trying to keep track of that. So I'm able to talk to the operator in the back seat over the intercom system. And
got shadow on the trees there.
And then the pilot is constantly looking out for hazards. The big thing with him is wires. You know, they're looking for power lines, and we don't want to get tangled up in those. That'll ruin our day really quick.
There they are, yeah. Ooh.
One of my goals on this project was to not just show the beach, you know. The crashing waves are obvious and the beautiful cliffs are beautiful, but I really wanted to show the estuaries that we have and all of the ports and the small towns. You know, people love seeing their own little small town from the air. And there's just so much to see along the Oregon coast once you start poking around. And that's really what we wanted to show in this project.
I think we could probably start climbing out of here.
Let's see if this spend, what happens.
Okay.
There was one point we came down on the Chetco River and Pete decided to kind of get down low over the water. And so we were, flying along maybe 10 feet above the water.
Boy, they made this thing just big enough for our rotor system.
That was nice of them.
No doubt.
But that was a little nerve-wracking for me. I was glad to get out of there.
Well, you're just all over it, birds and rafters.
One of the missions of this trip is to find people in action doing things. You can't really plan on it, but a windsurfer out in the Columbia River or the guys playing on the sand dunes with their ATVs.
Which one are you going for, right or left? I'm going right.
And so when you find those moments, you sort of have to stop and play with them a little bit. Maybe hover around the people, and they probably wonder, what's going on with this big helicopter in the air.
Looking good. Yeah, let's just go cruise by them now.
Nice flying, buddy.
Good job.
Yeah.
The pilot and Mark, the operator, both of them had worked together before on other projects, and so they really had this good relationship and could read each other without saying anything. And they would come up with these just epic moves around things, like the seat ahead was one of them. We were coming along the cliff. As the pilot was gaining altitude, Mark, the operator, was spinning the camera around as we came around the lighthouse. And those kind of moments that I was just waiting for, and we nailed some of them.
Helicopter shadow, 3, 2, got it, 1.
There was a few times where you'd be getting a great shot, but the sun was behind our back, and then this shadow of a helicopter comes across the scene. And so that just ruins it. You know, we just bail at that point. And
Nice shadow.
Nice shadow. That one's no good, huh?
when you have the camera out on the nose of the helicopter, you always run the risk of bugs getting splattered onto the lens.
Oh, you got a bug.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
So we land and the operator gets out and he cleans the lens and gets back in and we take off and keep flying. And that probably happened 5 or 6 times. It adds to the cost of things, you know, because whenever you land, the blades are still turning and so that your meter's running. And so I'm sitting there as a director going, okay, we're spending money wiping bugs off the lens.
Yeah, looks good, Mark.
I did have a plan, you know, an average of 70 miles an hour in the helicopter, and it ended up working almost perfectly, just right on schedule the whole day. And by the time we got to Brookings, the sun was setting, and it was like, yeah, we did it. So that was just so much fun to be up in the helicopter for a whole day. It just never ceases to amaze me, you know, how much access we have to all this awesome scenery that we have around here. And to be able to see all of that from the air, it's just a whole new experience. I'm just pinch myself all the time. I can't believe I get to do this kind of thing. So it's an awesome experience to be able to share it with people.